My girlfriend told me I never lie, darling. I just choose which truth to tell you. I am starting to understand what she meant, and it is terrifying. I am writing this at 3 a.m. because I cannot sleep and my mind will not stop racing. 3 days ago, my girlfriend Eva said those exact words to me with this beautiful, almost proud smile on her face. At the time, I thought it was just one of her quirky philosophical observations. Now I am wondering if she was giving me a warning I was too blind to see. We have been together for 2 years. Living together for the last 8 months. I have been planning to propose next month. Had the ring picked out, the restaurant reserved, even asked her best friend for advice about her favorite flowers. I thought I was the luckiest man alive to have found someone so genuine, so loving, so perfectly imperfect. But then Asher came to town. Eva told me about Asher from the beginning, her childhood friend, her person, the one who knew her better than anyone. She spoke about him with this nostalgic fondness that I found endearing. When she mentioned he was coming to visit for a week, I was genuinely excited to meet the man who meant so much to her. The first red flag should have been her reaction when I offered to pick him up from the airport. "Oh no, darling," she said quickly. "He is very particular about meeting new people. Let me handle the introductions properly." She was gone for 4 hours that first day. When she came home, she was glowing in a way I hadn't seen in months. Her cheeks were flushed, her eyes bright, and she kept touching her hair in that unconscious way she does when she is excited about something. "How did it go?" I asked. "Perfect," she said, and something in her tone made me look up from my laptop. Just absolutely perfect. The dinner introduction 2 nights later was a disaster I am still trying to process. Asher arrived at our apartment looking like he had stepped out of a romance novel. All dark hair and intense eyes, wearing a perfectly fitted black sweater that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. He was polite but distant with me, offering a firm handshake and a measured smile that never quite reached his eyes. But with Eva, the transformation was immediate and unsettling. She became this version of herself I had never seen before, more animated, more tactile, more alive. She kept touching his arm when she talked, laughing at his stories with genuine delight, and looking at him with an intensity that made me feel like an intruder in my own home. During dinner, I watched her feed him a bite of her dessert with her own spoon. When I raised an eyebrow, she caught my expression and said, "What? We have always shared everything. Right, Ash?" Asher just smiled and nodded, but something passed between them that excluded me entirely. After dinner, as I was clearing dishes, I heard her whisper something to him that made him laugh, this low, intimate sound that sent ice through my veins. When I asked what was so funny, Eva looked at me with surprise, as if she had forgotten I was there. "Oh, just an inside joke from when we were kids," she said. "You wouldn't understand." That night, after Asher left, I tried to talk to her about what I had observed. "You seemed really close with him tonight," I said carefully. Eva's response was immediate and devastating. "You are being paranoid. Ethan, cannot a woman be affectionate with her oldest friend?" The way she said paranoid, like I was some jealous, controlling boyfriend, made me question my own perceptions. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe this was just how close friends behaved when they hadn't seen each other in a while. But then she said something that has been echoing in my head for 3 days. "I never lie, darling. I just choose which truth to tell you." She said it like it was romantic, like her selective honesty was a gift she was giving me. Now I am lying here at 3 a.m., wondering what truths she has been choosing not to tell me, and more terrifyingly, what truths she has been choosing to tell Asher instead. Edit. Reading these responses is making me realize this situation might be worse than I thought. Several people are using the word manipulation, and that is not a term I wanted to associate with the woman I love. Edit 2. Asher is supposed to be here for 4 more days. I don't think I can handle 4 more dinners like tonight. Edit 3. Update coming soon. Something happened today that changes everything. Update 1. The last 48 hours have been a psychological minefield that has left me questioning everything I thought I knew about Eva and our relationship. After my original post, I decided to trust my instincts instead of dismissing them as paranoia. I started paying closer attention to Aviva's behavior, and what I discovered has shattered my entire understanding of the woman I was planning to marry. Yesterday morning, Eva said she was taking Asher on a nostalgia tour of the city, showing him their old college hangouts, the coffee shop where they used to study, places that held special memories. She would be gone all day, she said, and I shouldn't wait up if they decided to grab dinner somewhere. I spent the day trying to work, but I couldn't concentrate. Something about Eva's excitement, about the way she would carefully chosen her outfit and perfume, felt wrong. This wasn't how someone dresses to show a friend around town. This was how someone dresses for a date. Around 8 p.m., I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. I drove to the restaurant she had mentioned as their likely dinner spot. This intimate little Italian place with dim lighting and wine lists that require a second mortgage. I found them in a corner booth, sitting on the same side of the table like a couple. Eva's head was on Asher's shoulder, and his hand was stroking her hair with a familiarity that made my chest tighten. I watched for 10 minutes, telling myself there had to be an innocent explanation. Maybe she was upset about something. Maybe she had had too much wine. Maybe this was just how they comforted each other. But then, Asher lifted her chin and looked into her eyes with an intimacy that no amount of rationalization could explain away. And Eva looked back at him like he was her entire world. I left before I could see what happened next. I couldn't handle witnessing whatever boundary they were about to cross. When Eva came home at midnight, she was disheveled and emotional in a way that confirmed my worst suspicions. Her makeup was smudged, her hair messy, and she had that same post-intimacy glow I had seen after our best nights together. "How was dinner?" I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. "Difficult," she said. And for a moment, I thought she might tell me the truth. Ash is going through some things. He needed someone to talk to. What kind of things? Eva got that look she gets when she is crafting a story. Her eyes went slightly unfocused, like she was accessing a script. "He has been struggling with depression," she said softly. He actually tried to kill himself last year, Ethan. I am the only one who knows. He called me that night, and I talked him through it. That is why our friendship is so important. I literally saved his life." The way she told this story, with just the right amount of pain and heroism, felt rehearsed. But it was also the perfect manipulation. How could I be jealous of a man who had attempted suicide? What kind of monster would I be to object to Eva supporting someone through mental health struggles? "That is terrible," I said. "I had no idea. He made me promise never to tell anyone," Eva continued. "But I thought you should understand why I cannot just cut him out of my life. He depends on me, Ethan. If you cannot understand that bond, then maybe you don't understand love at all." There it was. The subtle accusation that my concerns were evidence of my inadequacy as a partner. If I truly loved her, I would support her unconditionally. If I truly understood love, I wouldn't question her devotion to someone who needed her. "Of course I understand," I said. "Because what else could I say?" Eva smiled and kissed my cheek. "I knew you would. That is why I love you." But as she headed to the bathroom to wash off her smudged makeup, she added, "I told Ash I wouldn't see him alone for the rest of his visit. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable." This should have made me feel better. Instead, it felt like another manipulation, a gesture designed to make me feel guilty for causing problems while simultaneously making her sacrifice appear noble. That night, as Eva slept beside me, I lay awake thinking about everything I had observed. The intimate dinner, the practice story about suicide, the way she would preemptively offered to avoid future alone time, making me the reason for her sacrifice. I realized something that chilled me. Eva might be a much better actress than I had ever imagined. Edit. A lot of you are saying the suicide story is fake. I am starting to think you might be right. The timing was too perfect, too convenient for shutting down my concerns. Edit 2. Asher leaves tomorrow. I have decided to do some investigating while Eva's at work. Edit 3. I found something. Oh God. I found something that changes everything. Update 2. I need to write this down before I lose my mind completely. What I discovered today has destroyed every assumption I had about Eva, our relationship, and the last 2 years of my life. After Eva left for work this morning, I did something I never thought I would do. I searched through her personal things. I told myself I was looking for evidence to prove my suspicions wrong, that I would find something innocent that would explain away all the red flags. Instead, I found proof that the woman I love has been systematically lying to me about everything. Hidden in the back of her jewelry box, I found a small leather journal. The first entry was dated 3 months into our relationship. E is getting more serious about us. He is sweet, stable, financially secure, everything I should want. But when I close my eyes, I still see Asher's face, still remember how it felt to be truly desired, not just loved. E loves me like I am precious. A loves me like I am dangerous. I think I need both. My hands were shaking as I read entry after entry documenting Eva's calculated approach to our relationship, told E about it today, framed him as my childhood friend, instead of the man I was obsessed with for 4 years. E seemed charmed by the idea of me having a meaningful friendship. He has no idea A and I were together until 6 months before I met him, or that we never really ended things. A called last night while E was in the shower. He is coming to visit next month. I am terrified and excited and feel alive in a way I haven't in months. E makes me feel safe. A makes me feel everything else. Perfect relationship formula. E for stability and security. A for passion and intensity. Why should I have to choose? I deserve to have everything I want. But the entry that shattered me completely was from last week. A arrives tomorrow. I have been preparing E for this moment for months, building up A's importance, establishing the sacred friendship narrative. Tonight, I will sleep next to E knowing that tomorrow I will remember what real fire feels like. The best part? E will never suspect because he trusts me completely. I have trained him to see questioning me as weakness, paranoia as inadequacy. He is so desperate to be the understanding boyfriend that he will rationalize anything I do. I had to stop reading. The calculated cruelty of it was suffocating. But I forced myself to continue, and the journal entries kept referencing ongoing correspondence with Asher that made me sick to my stomach. References to messages, calls, shared secrets that excluded me entirely. That night, after Eva fell asleep, I lay awake thinking about everything I had discovered. Around 2 a.m., I noticed her laptop was still open on the nightstand. She had fallen asleep while catching up on work emails. I told myself I was just going to close it. But when the screen lit up, I saw her Gmail was still logged in, and Asher's name was right there in her recent conversations. I clicked on it, and what I found destroyed whatever was left of my faith in her. Messages spanning our entire relationship, not the messages of friends, but the correspondence of lovers maintaining a secret connection. Messages like, "Same time next month. I miss the way you look at me like I am, the only woman in the world." And Asher's response, "Count on it. E sounds nice enough, but he doesn't know you like I do. He loves your performance. I love your truth." Eva's reply, "The performance is exhausting sometimes. When I am with you, I remember who I actually am." There were dozens of these exchanges, evidence that Asher hadn't just been visiting, he had been coming to town monthly for the past 1.5 years. While I had been falling deeper in love with Eva, she had been maintaining this parallel relationship with the man she actually wanted. The suicide story, complete fabrication. In fact, there was an email where they had laughed about it. "If he ever gets suspicious, I will tell him you are fragile." Nothing shuts down male jealousy faster than female caretaking. Every meaningful moment in our relationship had been a lie. Every time Evia had seemed distant or distracted, she would probably been thinking about Asher. Every time she had reassured me about their friendship, she had been laughing at my gullibility. But what finally broke me was a text exchange from just 2 days earlier. Eva had written that I was starting to grow suspicious, that they need to be more careful. Asher replied that they could just tell me the truth, that she had always been his. Eva said she wasn't ready to give up the security yet, though soon she might have to since I'd been talking about marriage. Asher told her to marry me if she wanted. He didn't mind sharing. She teased him for being awful, and ended with a line that cut deeper than any blade. She loved that he was terrible. I spent the afternoon in a dissociative haze, trying to process the magnitude of Eva's deception. This wasn't a woman who had made a mistake or was confused about her feelings. This was someone who had deliberately constructed an elaborate lie designed to exploit my trust while maintaining her options. She had been planning this double life from the beginning. Every sweet moment, every declaration of love, every time she had made me feel like the luckiest man in the world, it had all been theater designed to keep me as her unwitting supporting actor while she pursued her real love story with someone else. Edit. The comments on this post are helping me understand that what Eva did has a name: emotional abuse through manipulation and gaslighting. I have been so focused on the cheating that I missed the systematic psychological control. Edit 2. The confrontation is happening tomorrow. I have been preparing what I want to say, but honestly, I don't think anything can prepare me for facing someone who has been lying this skillfully for this long. Edit 3. To those asking if I am okay, I am not. But I will be. Eventually. Final update: this will be my final post about EVA, because after what happened during our confrontation, I never want to think about her again. When I posted that update showing Eva the evidence of her deception, several people warned me that confronting a skilled manipulator rarely goes as expected. They said she would probably try to flip the script, make me the villain, or find some way to maintain control of the narrative. They were wrong. What Eva did was so much worse than manipulation. She revealed herself to be someone fundamentally incapable of empathy or remorse. When Eva saw me sitting with her journal and printed emails, her first response wasn't denial or even anger. It was irritation, like I would caught her in a minor inconvenience, rather than discovering she had been systematically destroying my ability to trust reality. "Well," she said, setting down her purse with careful precision, "I suppose we need to talk." Her calmness was more unsettling than any emotional outburst would have been. "Talk," I said. "Eva, I found evidence that you have been lying to me about everything for 2 years. You have been in love with someone else this entire time, carrying on a secret relationship, and making me feel crazy for noticing the signs." Eva sat down across from me and folded her hands like we were discussing dinner plans. "You weren't supposed to find that," she said matter-of-factly. "Not I am sorry. Not I can explain." Just a simple statement that my discovery had violated her expectations. "That is what you are concerned about?" I asked. "That I wasn't supposed to find it?" Eva tilted her head slightly, studying me with the detached curiosity of someone observing an interesting psychological specimen. "Ethan," she said slowly, "you are acting like I committed some terrible crime. But all I did was love 2 people simultaneously. Since when is having feelings illegal?" The casual reframing of systematic deception as merely having feelings was breathtaking in its audacity. "You didn't just have feelings," I said, holding up the emails. "You maintained a secret relationship while making me believe we were building something real together. You lied about everything." Eva's expression shifted then, and for a moment I saw something that chilled me, not remorse or shame, but genuine confusion about why I was upset. "I never lied to you," she said with perfect sincerity. "I told you exactly what I said. I told you. I choose which truths to share. You just assumed that meant I was sharing all of them." The psychological gymnastics were stunning. In Eva's mind, deliberately withholding crucial information wasn't lying. It was selective truth, telling that I would somehow misunderstood. "Eva," I said, trying to maintain my composure, "you told me Asher was just a friend. You created an entire fictional narrative about saving him from suicide. You have been sleeping with him monthly while telling me you loved me. How is that not lying?" For the first time since the conversation started, Eva showed genuine emotion, but it wasn't guilt or sadness. It was frustration. "God, you are so binary," she snapped. "So what if I have been seeing Asher? So what if our relationship is more than friendship? That doesn't diminish what we have, Ethan. It just means I am capable of loving more than one person at a time while lying to both of us about it." Eva stood up abruptly, and for a moment her carefully maintained composure cracked entirely. "You want the truth?" she said, her voice rising. "Fine, here is your truth. Yes, I love Asher. I have always loved Asher. He understands parts of me that you never could, but that doesn't mean I don't love you too." She began pacing, her words tumbling out with increasing intensity. "You gave me stability, security, a future I could count on. Asher gives me passion, excitement, the feeling of being truly alive. Why should I have to choose? Why should any woman have to choose between security and passion when she is capable of managing both?" The entitlement in her voice was staggering. She genuinely believed she deserved to have 2 men's complete devotion while offering neither her honesty or fidelity. "Because that is not how relationships work," I said. "You cannot build intimacy on lies. You cannot love someone while systematically deceiving them." Eva stopped pacing and looked at me with something approaching pity. "That is where you are wrong," she said softly. "I absolutely can love you while keeping parts of myself private. Love isn't about complete transparency, Ethan. It is about giving someone what they need to be happy. And what I needed was the truth." "No," Eva said with frightening certainty. "What you needed was to feel special and secure. I gave you that. The fact that I also gave other things to other people doesn't change what I gave you." This was the moment I realized I wasn't arguing with someone who had different values or had made poor choices. I was arguing with someone whose fundamental understanding of love, honesty, and human relationships was so distorted that we might as well have been speaking different languages. But Eva wasn't finished. As I sat there processing the magnitude of her psychological detachment, she delivered the line that will haunt me forever. "The best part," she said, almost smiling, "you all thought you were special, but you are just replaceable." The casual cruelty of it hit me like a physical blow. This woman had systematically exploited the love of multiple men, not out of confusion or emotional conflict, but because she genuinely believed she deserved unlimited access to male devotion without reciprocal commitment. "All of us?" I managed to ask. Eva's smile became genuine then. The first authentic expression I had seen from her all evening. "Oh, Ethan. You thought you and Asher were the only ones?" She laughed, and the sound was like glass breaking. "There was Marcus before you, David during Marcus. And currently there is James from my yoga class. I am very good at compartmentalizing." The revelation that I was just one option in an entire portfolio of manipulated men was somehow more devastating than discovering her relationship with Asher. "You are sick," I said. "I am efficient," Eva corrected. "I identified what I needed from different types of men and created a system to get it. Some provide emotional stability, others provide passion, others provide financial security or social status. Why limit myself to hoping one person can provide everything when I can create a network that guarantees all my needs are met?" In that moment, I understood that Eva wasn't a woman who had made mistakes in love. She was someone who viewed relationships as resource extraction opportunities and other people as supporting characters in her elaborate self-centered narrative. I stood up, walked to our bedroom, and began packing. Eva watched me with mild curiosity, like I was performing some interesting but ultimately irrelevant task. "Where will you go?" she asked. "Anywhere but here. This is rather dramatic, don't you think? We could work something out, establish some boundaries, create more clarity about expectations." Even facing the complete dissolution of our relationship, Eva was trying to negotiate terms that might allow her to maintain access to whatever I provided in her emotional portfolio. I zipped my suitcase and walked toward the door. "Goodbye, Eva." As I reached for the door handle, Eva said something that perfectly encapsulated everything I had learned about her. "Fine. But remember this. I never needed any of you. You needed me to feel alive." The psychological projection was perfect. Eva, who had constructed an entire life around needing validation from multiple men simultaneously, was claiming that we were the needy ones. But as I walked away, I noticed something that gave me a moment of satisfaction. For all her confidence, for all her claims about not needing anyone, Eva's voice was shaking. For the first time in probably years, Eva Ravencroft was going to be alone with herself. No audience for her performance. No one to manipulate or control. Just her and whatever was left of her authentic self after years of constructing elaborate lies. "I have been staying with friends while I find a new place." Eva has texted twice. Both messages variations of "when you are done being dramatic. We should talk about moving forward." Even now, she believes this is a temporary tantrum rather than a permanent decision. But something interesting happened yesterday. I received a call from Marcus, apparently one of Eva's previous compartments. He would somehow gotten my number and wanted to warn me about Eva's patterns. Turns out, she had pulled similar maneuvers with him and 2 other men. Marcus had done something I hadn't thought of. He had started documenting Eva's behavior and reaching out to her other victims. Not for revenge, but to build a support network of people who had been psychologically manipulated by the same person. What we discovered was that Eva had been running this same system for at least 6 years. Always maintaining 3-4 concurrent relationships with different men who fulfilled different functions in her life. She rotated men in and out based on their utility, always ensuring she had backup options before discarding anyone. The most chilling discovery was that Eva kept detailed notes on each of us. Our weaknesses, our triggers, what type of manipulation worked best on each personality type. She had turned emotional abuse into a refined system. Marcus asked if I wanted to join their informal support group, men who had been systematically manipulated by someone whose understanding of love was so fundamentally broken that she saw other human beings as inventory in her emotional warehouse. I said yes, because Eva was wrong about one thing: we didn't need her to feel alive. She needed us to feel powerful. And now, for the first time in years, she is going to have to face the empty space where her sense of power used to be. The last thing I will say about Eva is this: beware of people who are too perfect, too understanding, too willing to be exactly what you need them to be. Real love involves friction, disagreement, and authentic imperfection. Performance love is smooth and seamless and ultimately hollow. I am beginning to understand the difference. Edit. To everyone asking about pressing charges, there is nothing illegal about what Eva did. Emotional manipulation and systematic deception aren't crimes, just profound moral failures. Edit 2. Marcus's support group has been incredibly healing. Sharing experiences with other men who survived similar manipulation has helped me understand that Eva's behavior wasn't love. It was predation with romantic packaging. Edit 3. This is my last update about Eva. I am focusing on rebuilding my ability to trust authentic connections and learning to recognize the difference between someone who loves you and someone who uses love as a control mechanism.